This is Benetau's brand new Gran Turismo 40, and this is a clean sheet design, and it's been done very much in conjunction with talking to customers, with researching data, and trying to come up with something that is absolutely tailored to how people actually use these boats. So they've stripped it back, they've kept it simple. You don't have that kind of layer cake of steps going up and garages and more steps and all that kind of thing. They've kept it to what people actually want, and that is a low, sleek, good-looking weekender that is just a great place on the water. And we're going to sneak around this lady here. Excuse me.
So it's reversed.
Thank you. Completely lost my train of thought at that point. Bathing platform here, obviously, but this is where it gets interesting. We've got the drop balconies, of course, we've seen that before, but look at this seating layout. And the idea of this is to make the whole thing just a lot more convivial. So rather than the sort of the pew seating like you sat in church, it's all wrap around. It means that if Maggie sat over there and I'm sat over here, I can sit here, I can chat to her, I can put my feet up. And the whole point of this is just to make it a really comfortable, nice, relaxing place to be. And I think they've done that well. The table, of course, will fold out like so. And in fact, you can fold that in either direction and reveal the cup holders there. This particular boat is the Alpine version. So some of the styling is done by Alpine, who are the car people, so that's why we're seeing little tricklers about the place like this. We're seeing the black rails, we're seeing the black on the hardtop rather than the normal grey. You can see the Alpine sign on the back of the seat there as well. So this isn't the standard boat, this is the Alpine version, but essentially, in terms of everything that we're seeing here, it's exactly the same. There's another drop balcony on this side. Of course, we're against a pontoon, so we can't put that down at the minute, but it's pretty useful to be able to show you how this cockpit looks when it's in place. So it's nice and secure. And what you can also do with this is you'll see that these balconies have got sockets in the corners here. It's on the bathing platform, it's back here, and it means that you can extend this sunshade out in all directions and just get a load of shade over this area. So if you're somewhere hot, as we are at the minute, you've got a ton of shade, but also you can see a zip here. You can put canopy sections in. So for UK, for example, or Northern Europe, that means you can enclose this area. Now what's really interesting about this, and I've never seen this done before, is I want you to imagine the American style of tailgating. And that's not following people too close, that's where they have these parties in the back of their F-150 pickups. They go to the ball game, and then at half time they all dive in the back of the pickup truck, and they've got seating and they've got barbecues going and all that kind of thing. And that's the concept for this boat, which is why we've got this massive window here, this lift up section, and that drops down level with that, and that gives you like a pickup truck area here. So all that can be enclosed and air conditioned or heated, and it can also be opened up as I've got it at the moment. And then this is your tailgate, this is your bed of your pickup, and it's just a massive entertaining area. That's remarkable, isn't it? So on this one, again, a lot of this stuff, you know, is owner specification, but this particular boat's got the grill on it. There is 2 fridges across here, but what's great is these are the ones where you can control the temperature, or at least this one here is. So you can dial in the temperature you want. So if you want to have that as a freezer, you can do. So you can chuck a load of bags of ice in there and they'll stay cold all day. There is, of course, bins and storage and all that kind of stuff. Along here, these are drawers, like so. I don't know how it's showing up because they're black. And then shelving down there. And then the sink, of course, is underneath here. So this is one of these taps. It's all kept very low profile, but that lifts up and swivels, and that's your tap. Thusly. But it's intriguing, isn't it? And the idea of it is to just give you a massive amount of cockpit space, but still give you an internal helm when you require it, or keep it open as we've got at the moment. Let's take a wander in, and I'll show you what this is all about. Now, it's very interesting that as we go from this area to this area, all of a sudden, from the sort of the dark colours and the teak and all that kind of thing, we're suddenly going to a much lighter and more muted shades. The idea is when you come in here, it's all a little bit more relaxing. This boat's got the sound and light package, so there's lighting all over the place, and you can see it running down around here. That's lighting in there, but it's all around the boat, including the outside. And part of that Alpine package is things like the carbon fibre look here, and this helm seat, the way it's trimmed with the Alpine headrest and so forth. So as I say, it's just a styling upgrade. Look at these windows and the way they slide along this I'll try it again. They slide along this track and then they push outwards. That's why it's hooked around there, so that glass is flush when it's closed. We've got air conditioning controls here. This particular boat has got a seakeeper on it. In fact, you can see the controls for it displayed on the multi-function display, and look how these are done with these two pods which just got the screens on them. Everything else then is just flush and flat, and even these switches are like flush switches across here. The autopilot is here, and we've got bow thruster on this one, and we've got the engine controls over here. This one's on Yanmars. We'll go and take a look at those. Zip wake on here as well, and the view out over the front. That seat at the front there folds flat, of course. I'll show you that when we go around onto the foredeck, and the speakers you'd have seen for yourself. But you can see how we've got a massive sliding roof here, and that window up, and the side windows you can open, and that makes this a continuation of the cockpit. But if you want it in pickup mode, you can drop that down, close that door, shut the roof, and this becomes like a pickup cab then, where you're air conditioned, it's quieter, it's more comfortable. You've got that facility. Cup holders interspersed with scan chargers. You can drop your phone on there, they'll charge for you. And if we head on down again, it's the same sort of philosophy. They've stripped it back, they've kept it simple, they've asked people what they want, and what people want is a nice bed, so that if they're spending the weekend on board, they can do so comfortably. And there's also, and this is quite clever, this can be space for the kids, because they've got effectively two beds in here, but it's also a little crash out zone or movie zone or whatever it is. So at the end of the day, you can come down here, you can sit here, you can put your feet up with whoever you're with and just chill. And that I like. Stick a movie on. Got a bit of ventilation here if you wanted, or of course you can air condition it if it's fitted. But yeah, it's just a really good little crash pad, isn't it? I like that very much. And as I say, if there are four of you, and bear in mind that a lot of these boats are run just by couples, so there aren't, but if you've got kids or you've got friends that want to stay occasionally, well then make these into beds. Problem solved. But that, I think, is a really nice feature. I like that. And it's an unusual layout, because normally you get the dinette at the front and then you get a bed tucked away back here in a separate cabin. This is deliberately kept all open plan. There is, on this one, air conditioning controls, but there's also cupboard there, but what I was looking for is the microwave, so that if you want it, you can have for a bit more catering. But to be honest with you, it's a picnic boat. You're going to be in a restaurant in the evening, aren't you? Let's be honest. So you just want to be able to fry something up during the day. Love the lighting that sweeps around like this, but again, it's all nice, calm, muted colours. We've got the opening portholes in the front window there. We've got the overhead hatch as well. This one is hanging locker. And the other thing we have then is this is a really nice toilet and shower. So the shower is separate. You've got, of course, the doors that come across there, sink, mirror wave, again lovely lighting, again bits of storage. That's just a really lovely space. And bear in mind that these are used predominantly as day boats, as I say, with the occasional weekend. It fits that brief absolutely perfectly. Don't get me wrong, you could spend a week on here. I could take this boat with somebody else and have a week on board very comfortably. There's nothing stopping you doing that. You've got good headroom, all that kind of stuff going on, but it's not the focus of the boat. It's not a cruising boat. That's not what they had in mind. Of course you can do it, but what it's really, really good at is fun days out or weekends out on the water, and that for a lot of people is exactly what their boating is. It's what my boating is at the minute. And they do things like the swift trawlers that we've got over here that give you the extra capacity for cruising if you want it. So they do cater for that sort of boating as well, but not with this. If we step up here, this will take us up and forward. Again, we've got the Alpine badges on the side. This is this big sliding roof that we saw, and this is in the black. So it's got this massive Alpine badge on the roof. As standard, it's the pale grey like the one behind us, which is the GT35. But if you want the Alpine upgrade, that's what it buys you, and the same with the black rails and so forth. Look at this massive one-piece windscreen right the way across here. That's a serious piece of glass, isn't it? And then we've got this area up here. You can have the shaders we've got now if you want to. And what's quite clever, that's the hatch that's over that forward bed that we saw, but this section flips over and that's somewhere for your drinks and chuck your phone and that sort of thing so it doesn't slide off. And then this is that seat that we saw from the helm. You come around here, that drops down flat like that for extra sunbathing or better visibility when you're underway. Now this is quite interesting. On this new version you've got the reverse bow, so it actually goes down outwards, not inwards as is traditional, which of course begs the question, how do you drop an anchor? Well, what you do with this one, the anchor mechanism is down in there, and what you do, if I can remember this correctly, is release that one. Hang on. Yes, I've got it, bear with. Yes, I remember. I was shown this. Let's release that. This is much easier when you are not holding a GoPro. And then that, yes, I've got it. Hinges back. Oops, hinges backwards. There we go. So that is your anchor mechanism. What you do then is you've got the button for it there. That all powers out like a bowsprit. It takes the anchor forward, and then the anchor can drop clear of the hull. Now, if you're out anchoring and messing around and all that sort of stuff, you don't need to put the whole thing away every time. What you can do is extend the anchor handling kit so the anchor sticks out the front, as is entirely conventional on most boats. And then you can drop that back down. And then your anchor will work. You can control it from the helm, for example, and it will bring it up and put it into the cradle. The reason for this is that you can put the cradle and the anchor away. So if you want the super sleek styling, you have the ability to do it. But as I say, if you're going out for a day and you're going to be anchoring 2 or 3 times, you wouldn't bother to put that away every time. You'd only do it when you want to have the really sleek looks when you're not using it. Cunning, huh? What else can I show you? We've got the radar and the antennas and so forth up on the roof, as you'd expect. And you've got Cannes in the sunshine. Look at this, what a day. Fantastic. Let's go and look at the engine. Obviously no crew cabin on a 40-foot boat. It's very much owner-operator size. Look at the cleats. They fold flat and flush, and they pop up when you want to use them. So to open the engine hatch then, we need to bring the table down a bit. That's height adjustable. That's that one there. See that dropping down? You can drop that down to make that into a sunbed across there if you want to. So as well as the one on the bow, you've got that one. And then there's another button here. And this does this. Let's see if Maggie's able to hang on. Nothing's conventional on this boat, is it? I thought that would open backwards when I first came on here, but no. It opens this way. Excellent. Is Maggie still with us? Yes, she is. Look, gritted teeth. Okay, under here, again, another change from the norm, because pretty much every sports cruiser of this style has Volvo Pentas, not this one. They're now going with the Yanmars. They've had a lot of success with the Yanmar engines with their trawler yachts, and they're extending the Yanmar range out to the stern drives that this boat here has got. So they are tucked away underneath there. There is, in fact, an outboard engine version as well. So for Americans, for example, like the outboard engines, you can have that if you want. These are these are 8 LV 370s. They're going to give this boat, they reckon about 32 knots. It's so brand new, it's not been fully tested yet, but 32 is expected. 26 knots cruising efficiently, and probably about 180 miles of range at that speed. Other things that this boat's got, Seakeeper obviously is an option, they're very expensive, and generator on this one as well. There is a silent running package which gives you lithium batteries and solar panels on the roof and all that kind of thing, so that you can then run with an inverter and run your 240 from that. You don't then need a generator, but it just depends, of course, how you use the boat, where you use the boat, and how you want to spec it. Fuel tanks are in here as well, of course. This one's got a life raft in here as it happens. I guess they've just tucked that in there for the boat show. And then usual accoutrements, fire system, filters, all that kind of stuff. Brilliant. I'm going to come out of here because we've got a lot of people waiting to get on this one, and we're right in the middle of a very busy boat show, and Beneteau have very kindly shut the entire boat off in the middle of literally the middle of the day. So let's step out of here. Let's power that one back down, find the right button. Thusly, I'll put that table up as well actually. Perfect. Worth mentioning, there's a lot of storage under these seats, so this opens. Oh, let's move that the other way. It'll make life a little bit easier, wouldn't it? Like so, and that one opens like a butterfly in the other direction. So you have got storage, of course, underneath places like that as well. And I think we've done it, but that is something genuinely different, and I think genuinely brilliant. The amount of cockpit space and outdoor living space you've got on there is absolutely fantastic. And look at the people behind me queuing up, waiting to get on. Ooh, let's wrap it up, shall we? Massive, massive thanks to Beneteau for facilitating that tour and for keeping the boat empty for us. And a huge thanks, of course, to you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of that one in the comments, and we'll catch you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.